aujourd'hui, on va discuter le verbe avoir au présent de l'indicatif. Welcome. Today we will discuss the verb avoir, to have, in the present tense. But before we start, subscribe to the channel and press the notification bell to get the uploaded video as soon as I make them available. So let's start. On continue. Le verbe avoir. What are some of the common mistakes among learners when learning French? Primarily not conjugating the verb when used in a context, but using instead the infinitive. And this is not only with the verb avoir, it's usually with many verbs, and it's very common among learners who are beginners. Par exemple, for example, il avoir un livre instead of il a un livre. He has a book, which will be the correct form, over he to have a book, which doesn't make sense. For speakers of non-Romance languages, the conjugation concept is much harder to retain, since learning to conjugate, meaning to put the verb in the right form, comes with practice and memorizing the verb endings. And this is the only way to do it. There's no other way, unfortunately. In English, when we conjugate the verb to have, we only change the form once. I have, you have, he, she has, we have, they have. As you see, the verb highlighted in red is the only time then we change the form of the verb to have. And that's the third person of plural. Of singular. In French, instead, we change the ending or the verb, including the irregular verbs, about 6 times, with all subject pronouns. For example, if we conjugate the verb avoir, we have j'ai, tu as, il a, elle a, nous avons, vous avez, ils, elles ont. Subject and verb agreement. As I said in the previous slides, for the sentence, the speech, to make sense, we have to make the subject and the verb agree. In this case, the subject are assumed by the subject pronoun. The role of the subject is assumed by the subject pronoun. Je, tu, il, elle, nous, vous, il, elle. So we have to make the verb agree with the subject by changing the forms in the same way as I explained above, whether by putting the right endings or by, if the verb is irregular, the whole entire stem has to change, including endings. For example, how do we say to have, avoir, in all the 6 forms of le présent de l'indicatif, of the present tense? J'ai un livre. I have a book. Tu as un cahier. You have a notebook. Il a un chien. Elle a un chien. He or she has a dog. Nous avons une classe de français. We have a French class. Vous avez un livre de biologie. You'll have a biology book. Elles ont une fête après les classes. They have a party after school. La conjugaison du verbe avoir au présent de l'indicatif. Note, avoir is irregular verb. Therefore, it doesn't follow a pattern of endings, but instead it changes from one person to the other. Let's start. J'ai, tu as, il a, elle a, nous avons, vous avez, ils ont, elles ont. Encore une fois, répétez après moi. J'ai, tu as, il a, elle a, nous avons, vous avez, ils ont, elles ont. Expression avec le verbe avoir. J'ai un cadeau pour toi. Qui dit ça? C'est Père Noël. I have a present for you. Who says that? Santa Claus. J'ai un examen important demain. I have an important exam tomorrow. Il a un fils qui s'appelle Arthur. He has a son whose name is Arthur. Autres expressions avec avoir. On va lire en français, anglais, et puis on va donner un exemple. Avoir, en, to be, this many years old. Il a 15 ans. Avoir raison, to be right. Tu as raison, il fait froid. Avoir faim, to be hungry. J'ai faim. Avoir froid, to be cold. Tu as froid? Avoir peur, to be scared. N'aie pas peur. Don't be scared. Avoir soif, to be thirsty. Donne-moi une limonade, j'ai soif. Avoir sommeil, to be sleepy. Il est 23 heures, j'ai sommeil. Avoir chaud, to be hot. J'ai chaud. Ouvre la fenêtre. Je vais expliquer en anglais. I will explain this in English. Il a 15 ans. He has 15 years. But in English, we'll say he's 15 years old. Because if we use avoir or to have in English with age, it does not make sense. So we have to make it, or we have to translate it in a certain way that will make sense. He's 15 years old. Tu as raison, il fait froid. You're right. It's cold. J'ai faim. I'm hungry. Tu as froid? Are you cold? N'aie pas peur. Don't be afraid, don't be scared. Donne-moi une limonade, j'ai soif. Give me a lemonade, I'm thirsty. Il est 23 heures, j'ai sommeil. It's 11 o'clock at night. I'm sleepy. J'ai chaud. Ouvre la fenêtre. I'm hot. Open the window. So when we see these expressions, it is kind of the opposite of what we used to say in English. In English, we say, you're right, but in French, we say, you have right. So we have to translate them in a way that will make sense, even though it is not the correct word per word translation. À pratiquer, remplacer. C'est mon anniversaire aujourd'hui. J'ai 23 ans. Nous avons un appartement à Toulouse, au centre-ville. Paul a une amie qui s'appelle Émilie. Vous avez froid? Voulez-vous que je ferme la fenêtre? Vous avez une grippe. Restez au chaud. Tu as un chien maintenant. Comment s'appelle-t-il? Nous partirons aujourd'hui. Nous avons un train à midi. Ah oui, ils ont raison. Et c'est tout pour aujourd'hui. And this is it for today. Thank you and I'll see you next time. Au revoir.